So hey everybody, this video is going to be a little bit different. It's primarily going to be just reading over some emails I've received. I've tried to answer as many emails as I can, but sometimes I miss some that I don't get to right away, or I send a reply that gets kicked back because somebody didn't type their email in right, their email address properly. So unfortunately, the reply gets, returned to sender, so to speak. So, a number of these questions are going to be in German. I'll go ahead and read them as I have them here in front of me. And but I'm going to translate the questions then back to English as best I can, or at least the gist of the question or the comment. And my answers, though, are going to be all in English. For one thing, English is my native language. I speak it better. I can articulate my answers a little bit better in English than I can in German. If anybody out there speaks both and they want to, I don't know, translate for it or something, I guess there's some way to do that here on YouTube. With subtitles and stuff. Be happy to have any input I can on that. I can get on that. I don't know how all of that works though, so we'll have to see. So yeah, I'm going to go over these emails, and this could take a little while because there's about 4 pages of them. But I felt like this would be the best way to just kind of get it out there, and at the same time let me test out my new microphone. And I'll be drinking a little something in between every time. So after that, I might go over a few other things I've been wanting to talk about, but we'll see. Depends on how I feel after 4 pages of questions. Okay, so first I've got some questions from Ivan, who asked about auto start playing on startup and auto start streaming on startup. Well, I mean, I'm really not sure what the point of all of that would be. It's the only person I've ever heard ask me that question, but that would be a little bit of an odd way to do it. Generally, there's single clicks to start streaming and another click to start playing, so I'm not sure why you would need that, but I don't know. I'd like to hear, again, I'm asking these questions on this as well so that I can get maybe input from anybody else watching. Do those sound like things that anybody else would find useful? And maybe somebody can explain to me what the point of that would be. Not that it necessarily has to have a point, but I'm curious. He also asks, loading DSP with open on startup, load the plugin but bypass it. Audio is not processing. Again, goes on to the other thing. All these things supposed to start with startup of the program seems, I don't know, somewhat unnecessary. But I mean, it is something I could look into, but it's not going to be probably high on my priority list. What is the purpose of events? I do not understand what it does. It would be nice if events were able to have a start time. And now that is something that I definitely think it was a good idea. As it stands now, this is the events tab here. And the purpose of events is just to basically let this thing run on its own course. You can set up an event. It can be a random event or a specific file. So a random event just basically chooses a random file from a folder that you specify. File means you're playing a specific file. Okay, so let me go ahead and just throw something together real quick here. Let's say I'm going to do a random thing. I'm going to make this for every day of the week. So I'm Sunday through Saturday there. This event is going to run for a specific time span. This is a number in minutes. So let's say it's going to run for just testing purposes. We'll say 3 minutes. I could check all days or uncheck all days right here too. I almost forgot I put that there. And then I can select a folder, but it's going to pull these songs, these random songs from. So I'll just select one there. So, and then I'll go ahead and save that. Now this isn't perfect, this whole setup here. I mean, you could obviously have a name and things like that to make it a little bit easier to follow what's going on. I do intend to probably make that at some point though. Now we're going to go ahead and add another event. It'll be an individual file. We'll go ahead and say all days again, and notice that there is no time span now because it's just going to play that file for however long that file needs. And then we can select a file by the same method here. We're going to go there, and I'll select a specific file, and we'll go to jingles, and we'll say that one. And we'll save that. So notice that put that in the second slot there, and that's another thing I wanted to add at some point as a way to shuffle these, to move them up and down the list. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another event. It's going to be another random thing. Check all days, and we'll say this is for another 3 minutes. Folder, and we'll go ahead and I'll just put the same one in again here, same folder, and then I'll go ahead and add one more, another file, all days, and I'll go ahead and check that one and save that. So what this is supposed to do then is it's going to select a random song from that folder and play it. Then it's going to do that for 3 minutes. Now obviously if this is going to be an actual thing, it would probably be longer. It'd be like 30 minutes or something. And after 30 minutes it would switch to the next item in the list, which in this case is a single individual file called papabear.mp3, which is just a jingle. It's going to play that individual song, and then it's going to go and start adding songs from this one for another 3 minutes, and then it's going to play that, and because this is set to repeat, it's going to move back up to the top here, and it's just going to continue over and over through the list for, in theory, forever, or until you tell it to stop. And as you see here, there's this calendar 1 here, right? And you actually have multiple calendars listed here. And as you go through, you can make multiple then event lists this way. I don't know, for lack of a better name for this whole thing. I just called it events. I have no idea what else to call it. So let me go ahead and mute the volume here and go ahead and start events. And you'll notice what it's done is it added a song here, a random song from that folder. And it put it here in the play queue, but it hasn't actually started playing. Now that's something I do intend to change, but you notice the autoplay option here is grayed out because it is going to be autoplay anyway. You can't change it to manual play, in other words, right now, but you do still have to manually start the thing rolling. Okay, that's something I do want to change at some point, so that when you hit start events, it'll go ahead and start playing right away too. Not sure why I didn't do that to begin with, but yeah. So I'll just wait a minute here and wait for the next those 3 minutes to go by. In the meantime, I'm gonna go let my dog in the door here so he doesn't start barking out there, waking people up. Notice it's 2:58 in the morning my time. So, I had her outside there, and she was in the hallway. She'll do this all night long, walking in and out, little girl. Anyway, I think it's been about almost 2 minutes, I guess, maybe. I didn't really pay attention to what the time here was saying when I started it. But the song has been playing now for a minute and a half, but it sat down here for a while before I hit play. But you'll notice also here in the play queue, there's another song already preloaded. Alright, this is just so, you know, that you can see what's coming next. And it made it easier to set the whole thing up to make this work. It's just going to load the songs into here. Anything it finds is going to load one into here if there's nothing in there. But if you had this play queue preloaded with a bunch of songs and then you hit the start events, it will actually empty the play queue out completely. Whatever's in here will disappear, and this will start here. Now, you need to keep that in mind, because if there's something in here that you want to keep, you're going to go ahead and want to save that list and before you get started on this, so that you can reload it back in later. Okay, now this should be switching to the next one any moment now, because there we go. Okay, well there you see there's a problem. That figures. That should have loaded this into here, but unfortunately that didn't work right for some reason. Not sure why. Let's see what happens here when this gets to the end. Oh no, it did. It loaded up here. That's what it did. It loaded it up here. Yeah. And because it loaded it up here, I can see now that I didn't have that tagged properly. There's no tag information, so the artist and title and whatnot is not in there. But it did work. So it's going to finish playing that, then it's going to start playing what it had thrown in for this. And there you go. Okay, so it did work. Thought there was a problem there for a minute. See, that'll run for another 3 minutes, but I don't think we need to sit through that. But you notice the start events is blinking. If you click on it, it'll actually stop that. It won't stop playing, but it will stop the events. So, oh yeah, shoot. You know what? Let's go ahead and remove that. Let's go ahead and start events again. Now, you see if what shows up in here, if I decide I don't want that, I can just delete it and it'll automatically select another one. I'm just hitting the delete button here on my keyboard. So let's say I want to go ahead and, okay, that one sounds good, and then let that play. And then the next one is this, and maybe I don't want that, so click in here and delete it, and boom, until I get one that I want it to go ahead and play. Now that's just one of the things you can do. So I'm going to stop that all. So that's pretty much what the events section does. And then this will continue on for, you can continue making different things throughout this. And again, I do need to adjust this, at least visually, so that you can maybe have a name for each section of this, instead of it just showing you the URL of the file or folder. To actually have like each event given a name. And yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to work on. But what the guy was asking here about as well, again, was being able to set specific event start times. And well, I mean, I guess I could set up something where you could have like a configuration for the calendar itself to auto start a calendar. A calendar in the case of this is, I'm just calling it a calendar. It's a calendar of events. So each calendar has multiple events in it. And maybe I could set something so that you can set up specific calendars to start and stop at specific times or days. Like maybe I'll have a calendar of events that roll for, one whole day. And at midnight, maybe you want to switch to a different calendar at midnight, so you'll be able to say, okay, well, this calendar is going to run on, say, Monday from midnight to 11:59 p.m. and then starting again at midnight. So the next day, then officially, that it would start playing calendar 2. Something like that. I'd like some more input on if anybody has any ideas on different things. Maybe I could ways I could modify this to make it a little bit better. That would be great. All right, moving along. What else do I have to talk about? Next question. Is Lunarcaster also available with using Spotify or not? Okay. I've actually had this question a few times, and the short answer is no. The long answer is, well, I don't know if that's even legal, for one thing. For another, I believe Spotify uses some sort of encryption. And unless you're capturing your speaker output, maybe, then maybe you could play from Spotify using the speaker out. Yeah, no. I don't see that happening, honestly, with Spotify. So I'm not sure about the legalities of it, and I'm not sure. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. So anything specific for Spotify, not unless Spotify told me they wanted it or that it was okay. So, is it available in my language? German, French, etc. Well, I actually do have a language option here, English and German, but it is by no means perfect. I'll go ahead and show you. Save and restart. And you'll see that here some things are in German now, but not everything. In fact, most things are still in English. I believe some of the tooltips and some of these things, like here, you can see that obviously didn't get changed. That didn't get changed. Some things here you see there. Here, some of these are in German. You know, some things, like I say, are now in German with that. Other things, no. And that is something I'll be doing more work on yet. You see that's all in German now. So let's switch it back to English for the time being. So that is something I'm working on. Hopefully I can get it better. But yeah. So from Paul, replied to him but undeliverable email address. See, that's another issue I've had. Like I said, a lot of times I'll reply to somebody's question or whatnot, and I'll get a, like I said before, like a kind of like a return to sender type of thing going on, saying it was undeliverable, because people don't always get their email address typed in properly. It can happen. Anyway, he asks the possibility to voice track a show. Well, I'm actually looking into that, seeing how that works and how best to implement it, but I can't say when that'll get done. Another question: to generate a 24-hour-a-day program using a self-defined format. Now, that's a pretty broad question. I showed you on here earlier, I showed everybody what Events does. That can at least somewhat do what you're talking about there. But whether that covers everything you're thinking of, I really don't know. So, like I said, there's a lot of things that I know I can do to make this work a little bit better. In fact, one of the things I didn't even mention yet was the random option. Instead of just selecting a random folder, actually being able to select a specific playlist to select a random song from. That is something I've thought about doing as well, yes. So, question from Erwin. Micro push to talk eingestellt nicht speichert. Oh, okay, so he was having problems with the microphone push to talk settings. These settings here not saving. Yeah, that was an issue with a previous beta version, so this could have been a really, really old email, or somebody who just never got the newest beta. Let's see. The writing is too dark. Where? I see here, yes, that is, but that's by default because these are disabled, unless they're turned on. If you don't go in here and you activate, you'll see that right away it turns white. You can read it. Other than that, I don't personally see where this is too dark. If it is, anybody else has that problem, he's the only one I've seen that's mentioned that kind of a problem. But if anybody else sees that as an issue, please let me know, and I'll see if I can, what I can do about that. Minimizing button. Yeah, there's no minimizing button right now. There's no maximizing button up here in the corner either, though. That's because I was having some problems with that. I'm still working on same thing with the way this reacts when you're enlarging it and normal view and full screen view. It's kind of funky the way it does that. I've been working on that. I have to look and see. I think I did some things that fixed it up a little bit, but not 100%. Anyway, so that was that question. Questions from various people about personalizations, changing the colors and whatnot. No, I'm sorry, I don't do personalizations. I don't have the time. If I do it for one person, then everybody else is going to want one. I really don't honestly have the time to do any kind of personalizations on this. I mean, not even for money. I just don't have the time, that kind of time to spend on it. What I can do is to look into a way to make it so that you can personalize it yourself. That is something I am definitely willing to do, and I will let you know when I have something to try out for that. No idea when. Again, I feel like I've said this a lot of times, but I always feel like I need to say it again because I feel bad about not being able to spend much time on this. What's not much time? Not as much time as I would normally like to, but the truth is that I do this in my spare time, and there's not a lot of that. Even these videos takes me sometimes months to get around to. As a shift worker, I'm constantly tired, so yeah, things will get done as they get done. If I was making a living doing this, selling this or something, or what have you, then maybe I could do more on it. But I'm not making a living doing this. I have a full-time job and family and pets that want my attention. So anyway, let's see, what else do we have? From Thea. Talks about asking for like a comment section. These are in German, so I'm just kind of, some of these are in German, so I'm just kind of translating it as I go here. Theo's asking about being able to have a comment section for the like properties here, where you can see the tag info and whatnot. Maybe there'd be like a comment section here at the bottom or something, so they can, so that I think she can put important information about the song in there. Yeah, that's a possibility in the future. Right now it's not part of the regular tag info as far as I know of a song, but I plan to completely overhaul the playlist section and in general the program quite a bit in the coming months. Let's see here. From Andreas. Ist es möglich, Musik per Kopfhörer vorzuhören? Okay, is it possible to listen to music in headphones? Without this being sent to the speakers? No, at the moment there is no way for that. But what there is the option. I mean, if you're concerned about what's going to a server, for example, like if you have a server set up here, like I've got these, and you've got one connected and you're streaming, and yeah, you got some music playing and you want to, listen to a song a little bit before you put it on air, maybe because you're not really certain about it for some reason or what have you. If it fits or whatnot, what you can do is you can mute here. This does not affect a stream, so this will not be affected by this volume control here at all. The only thing that will affect this are these right here, as far as the music is concerned. So if you mute this, it just means that what is playing here is not going to be played locally on your headphones or whatever, or your speakers. And what you can do then is you can select a song, for example here, right click on it and go to preview, and that opens up this little bitty player right here that will, has its own little volume control that will let you play that, and that will not be heard over the stream because that is a separate thing and is not included in the stream. Okay. As far as having a separate little pop out like that will play to a different headphone or something, yeah, I mean that's I guess a possible thing I could look into doing. Again, there's lots and lots of things. This was meant to be a very, very simplistic program, but it's turned into much, much more than it originally was meant to be. But that's okay. Let's see what else I can put together as far as that goes, though, on device. Could not say when that'll happen, but do know that I keep track of all these emails, even if I don't answer them right away. From Ben, while trying to connect Lunarcaster with the server, it often says some mystery problem occurred with the encoder and the problem can't be solved by starting the app again. I always have to delete it from my laptop and download it again. That's very strange indeed. No, I've never heard of that problem. So he asked, do you know this problem and could you help me? I've never heard of an encoder issue quite like that. I mean, if you're saying that it normally works and then often it's then suddenly says some mystery problem occurred with the encoder and you have to delete the program and download it again, that's news to me. I've never heard of that problem. I'm not sure what would cause that kind of a problem either. Doesn't sound like it's a problem. No, I've never heard of that. Perhaps you can be maybe a little bit more specific. Whenever somebody emails me, and this is something please keep in mind, if you want to ask me about a specific problem, especially one that's dealing with a server or what have you, but any problem in general, I need as much specific information as you can get. One of the most important things is, of course, tell me which version of Lunarcaster DJ you're using, which is right here at the top. But also tell me if it's something that's happening, with a Shoutcast version 1 or version 2, or an Icecast server. Also, what version of Windows that you're running? Are you running Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 7? Yeah, as much specific information like that as you can give me would be great. Okay, what else do I have? It is not easy to fade songs and jingles without an external mixing desk, even using the auto crossfading. So the possibility to connect a mixing desk to Lunarcaster, or could you make that available in the next version? Well, mixing desk, crossfading. I'm not sure how you want to do crossfading then exactly with the mixing desk, as you put it. But external mixers can normally be added right here in these auxiliary inputs. So you can do as many as 2 auxiliary inputs, and you just activate it, and then you select where you're going to get that auxiliary input from. If your mixing deck is your mixer is coming in on USB, then you'll see it in the list here. This is my microphone there that I'm trying out today. So you could add that there. Well, let me go ahead and activate one just for the heck of it here, and then you'll see this add aux to stream. It's already green. You can turn that off though. But all this means is that if you have a server connected and you turn this on, then whatever the auxiliary input is will also go out over the stream, along with whatever you're playing here and your microphone here. Now, in theory, you could run everything from an external mixer and not use Lunarcaster for anything except your connectivity to a server if you wanted. That would certainly be possible just by using these auxiliary inputs. Now, I've never tried to do it myself, but in theory it should absolutely work. I have done auxiliary inputs, I just never hooked up an external mixer. So I hope that answers that question, at least somewhat. From Caroline, in the process of getting Lunarcaster set up, but it won't work. It won't load all my music. I have tried it a few times now, and I have over 29,000 tracks in my music folder, but it's only saying it's loaded 4,000 of them every time. All my music is in one folder, so I don't know what the problem is. Is there a limit to the amount of tracks you can put on Lunarcaster? No, there's no specific limit. I never made a limit. I'm not sure why you would only get 4,000 like that. That's something I'll have to test. I don't have 29,000 songs, but I guess I could make multiple copies of my music folders so that I could get a combined over 29,000 tracks and see what it does. But yeah, I guess I could give that a try, and I'll get back to you. From Manuel, would like to use Lunarcaster with Shoutcast 2. Unfortunately, doesn't seem to be working okay. You get an unknown error occurred message. What could be the problem? Well, there actually is a couple of things to look at, or at least in here. Let's say you got a Shoutcast 2 right here. You'll notice here it says Shoutcast version 2, so definitely make sure you got Shoutcast version 2 set up. Now you'll notice down here you have a mount point. Now, by default, your mount point on a Shoutcast 2 server is going to be mount point 1. Could be something else. You have to look at your configurations to find out. But you'll notice that for the mount point, there's no no preceding slash here, and that is very important with a Shoutcast version 2. The mount point you put in here should not be preceded with a slash. If you go to Icecast, for example, you'll notice there is a slash preceding the mount point right there. Alright, that is needed with Icecast. Icecast needs that forward slash in there. Shoutcast version 2 does not and cannot accept it. It won't work if you put that slash in there. That's a very good possibility as to the problem that you're having. I can't think of what other possible problem there could be. See, this one is set up for a... let me go ahead and, in fact, go over here and start up... I think this is my Shoutcast version 2 server. I'll go ahead and start that up so that I can show you this, my local one here. So I'll go ahead and start, and there you see I connected, right? So let me stop that. Let me open this up, and if I put a preceding forward slash in there, and then try again to connect, it says an unknown error occurred. Okay? So that slash needs to be gone, and then it works fine. So that certainly could be your problem. That's one of the major differences between Icecast and Shoutcast when it comes to making the connection here. Outside of that, the only things to look into is going to be your password and the server address and port. Those are your main things. Yeah, I mean, just you have to double check all of your settings and make sure they're right. The server is going to be your URL or an IP address, and then of course your port is whatever port you're supposed to have. This is just what's going to show up here under server name. It's just so you can see it better, recognize it easier. This can be whatever you want it to be, it doesn't matter. And the password, of course, is whatever password you're supposed to be using. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Guess I can close that out and go back to my list here. From Dita. He's asking about the ability to record a stream. Yeah, that's not right now set up in here, but it is something I've been looking into implementing. But no, there is no current way to record your stream. As you know, I wouldn't mind hearing some input on that. As to, I've seen some in the past, for example, like where you'd go into the encoder here and you'd have like an option record stream on start on connection, right? That's one way I guess I could do it. Another way would be simply to have a stream record button or something, you know, like a record button here. The advantage to having the record button separate would be that you could record a show, for example, without actually being online, without actually being connected to a server then. Whereas the advantage of having it do it with the encoder connection here is that you only have to click to start the stream like that, and it would start recording right away along with streaming. So it would be a one-click solution, obviously. Although I suppose I could do both. have a separate recording button there, as well as having the option in the encoders. So I don't know. Wouldn't mind hearing more input from people on that. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking into. From Klaus. Yeah. Klaus was asking about the possibility to pre-configure Lunarcaster and then just send it to the different DJs that he's got or whatever. And certainly that's possible, absolutely. The only thing that you cannot pre-set up then is going to be things like the events or the playlist, because these are all going to be based on where those songs, or folders or whatnot are located on the computer that the program is on. So, I may have an iDrive here with folder Soca Final Music folder 2, right? But somebody else that I maybe give a copy of this to, it probably doesn't have that. Probably doesn't even have that drive, and if they did, probably doesn't have those folders. So this is not going to work for them anyway, and the songs are going to be potentially different. And so yeah, it's not that simple. But as far as like the connections, which is your encoders here, yeah, those can certainly be pre-programmed in, and then redistributed. If a radio station wants to set this up with the encoders pre-configured for their DJs, and then just give copies of this out to their DJs, yeah, sure, I guess I don't have a problem with that. I'm not making any money on this software. You can give it to whoever you want to give it to. I don't rightly care. Yeah, I really don't see the only thing that there could be a potential problem with was right there. There's microphone and speakers as well. That's another possible problem that you're going to run into. So I would, if you're going to do that, go ahead and set up the encoder, but don't mess with the microphone and speaker configurations, because they're set by default. They're set to your Windows default microphone and speakers. That could possibly cause a problem if you've changed it, and then you give a copy to somebody else and they try to open it, and yeah, there's no such microphone or speakers listed on that other person's computer. So yeah, you can do that, but I would recommend only doing the connections, so the encoder configuration, and then repackaging that into a zip file and then giving it to your DJs. That's certainly something you could do. So where am I at here now? Still on page 2. Oof. Where am I on page 2? Oh no, I'm going on to page 3 now. Asking about if you can go to full screen mode. Yes, you can absolutely go to full screen mode right here. And it'll full screen. There you have it. So, in the center container, I always save my playlist that I'm using on air. Unfortunately, you can't tell how long. I can't tell how long I have saved for. Actually, yes, you can. It's right here in this remaining section. If I load songs into here, you'll notice that this time here, this is how much time is left worth of songs in this. Right there, remaining 34 minutes 25 seconds. So you say you have a 2-hour show. I could just put songs in here until it says 2 hours, or approximately. There you go. 1 hour 59 minutes and 50 seconds, right? That's pretty close to 2 hours. So, and then let me go ahead and mute this. And then you start playing. You'll now watch what happens with this. As it starts playing, you'll notice it's counting down, because what's in here plus what's in the playlist is how much you have remaining. So when this song ends and the next song begins, you're going to see that it's down to 1 hour 56 minutes 27 seconds. And we'll skip over to the next one again. 1 hour 52 minutes 31 seconds, 30 seconds, and so on, and so on, and so on. Right? Let's clear that out. Anyway, so yeah, you can definitely see how much time you have remaining. So, dynamically scaling the windows. Yeah, no, the thing is, okay, especially like with Windows 8 and 10, I believe, normally you take a window, you pull it over here to the side, and you can snap it to the, like, half of the screen, or you put it up to the top, and it goes full screen, and, you know, that is something that I'm working on as well. This has to do with the same issue that I've had with the minimizing button. For some reason, this thing was glitching with that when I turned it on. I don't know why. It was crashing the program. So that was kind of more than a little bit odd. But yeah, it is something I'm working on bringing back, bringing that option back to it. Let's see. More things than just the song and title. Here in the playlist section, right? Yeah, right now all you can really see is the title of the song and the duration of the song. And yeah, that is something else that I'm already working on replacing. Actually, this entire lower half of the program, I'm working on some way to redo the entire lower half. For one thing, so that I can expand the playlist section better, but also so that I can do a lot of other things, that a lot of other better setup options that I'm going to have. That's all part of it's all going to be part of version 2. When version 2 is going to ever come out, I honestly don't know. I wish I could say, but I just don't know at the moment. All depends on how much time I end up being able to spend on it in the coming months. We'll see. Let's see. Other ways to, yeah, that includes that, the Laza, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, other options for ways to sort then by title. Yeah, again, that's all part of what I'm planning to completely redo this lower section here to make more room for doing more types of sorting and creating playlists that you can just basically click on, and lots and lots of things that I'm working on right now, little by little, just researching things and best ways and to do certain things when it comes to that. But I'll have more information on that, and I don't know when, but let's just say soon. I hope soon. Search features for year, genre, and album names. Okay. But again, that's something here, if this thing would be wider, I could also, in the search, I could put in options here, search by, search according to, and then maybe either a pull down list here for title, artist, whatever, or just check boxes, something. Recording function, I already mentioned I am looking into doing that. Shortcut keys for starting, like play, I guess play, pause, and stop, as well as push to talk, etc. Yes, that is something I am also working on. So you can just use a shortcut key on the keyboard to play deck 1 or deck 2, stop deck 1, deck 2, etc. Right? And when I have that set up here, when you mouse over, you see the little tooltip that says play, pause. I will also put in there in parentheses then what the shortcut key is in the tooltip, so that it'd be easier to see that right away. What do I do to do that? Okay, that's I don't know, F1, F2, F3, whatever, or maybe it'll be Control A, Control B, something. We'll figure that out. What else do we have? Let's see, importing multiple folders at the same time. Not sure if I'm going to get around to that, but as far as like subfolders, yeah, that's already a possibility. If you add 20 new albums, well, and you have each album in a different folder, well, you could temporarily create a folder says new, put those new albums in the new folder, and then import the new folder, and it would include the subfolders and files. And then you could always, well, you can't move them back out after that, so what am I thinking? Forget I said that. Just ignore that. I'm not editing it out. Just, yeah, shows you. Sometimes you don't think straight, especially at what time is it now? 3:45 in the morning. So, I gotta hurry up. I've only got an hour left before I gotta go start waking people up this morning. Or getting ready to, anyway. 5 o'clock, I gotta wake my son up. Anyway. What else do we have here? Benny, is there a way to raise the song output volume? I was playing a song that obviously was low volume. Being new to the software, didn't know of a way to raise the volume of the song while it was playing. Is there a way to do this? No, there isn't. I'm sorry. The volume is going to be based on how it was ripped. I can't really do anything about that. It's going to be like that. I will be looking into some ways I can maybe find a way to compensate, but there's not going to be an incredible amount of options for me, I think, in that. Well, there might be a way, but anyway, I'll look into it. I'll see if I can figure something out, but it's going to also have to wait until version 2. Because if there is, then I will probably need to, it'll probably be something that's going to have to be set to the specific song in the list. Like if you found a specific song, like let's say this song from 2-4 Family, maybe that one is too low, then there would be a way to do a gain, add a gain to it of a certain amount, and then that would have to be set then to the song, and there'd have to be a place then, you know, an additional bit of information here, so an additional column inside of here that has the gain info on it. Yeah, actually, that's a possibility. Like I said, it won't happen until version 2, though. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I'm already on the last page. A fade out button for each deck. When pressed, lowers the volume to 0 in about 5 seconds, and when the volume reaches 0, the song stops and exits the player. There are times during a live broadcast when it is necessary to end a song before it reaches its normal end, like coming up to the start of another show, segment, etc. A button to press would be more convenient than using the manual fade slider. Yes, that is what this button here does. Next, we'll fade out the current song over a specific amount of time and then the next song would start up here if you're in autoplay. Otherwise, it'll just end. So if you were coming up to the end of a show or a segment, you simply make sure you switch to manual play. Some people prefer to do their entire shows in manual, but it's up to you. And if you've got a song in there, like I'll just go ahead and start one here, and then I hit next. You'll watch, let's see, I'm going to wait until that gets down to 20 seconds and you can see approximately how long. So 19, 18, let's see, 3 seconds. That took 3 seconds to fade out and stop, and then you see nothing is playing. That is actually configured in here in the configurations and under the crossfader section, and you'll notice the fade out time is 3 seconds. That's what that does. Okay, that is part of that. So if you wanted it 5 seconds, you could bring it up to 5 seconds. In fact, 5 is the most you can set it to. Okay. 2 keyboard shortcuts to start each player. This would be great when using the mouse to hold the mic button down with one hand and pressing a keyboard key to start the player with the other hand. Okay. In conjunction with number 2, an adjustable setting to lower the player volume when the mic button is pressed. Okay. All right, let's go back to the keyboard shortcuts. Okay, yeah, I'm still going to look into that, but you do not have to hold the microphone button down the entire time while you're talking. That is just an option. You can also just simply click the lock button, which will lock the microphone on, which frees you then to move around and click the start or, you know, play, pause, whatever buttons you want to click around up here. Or even just select a different song and put it in the player or what have you. You can do all of that while you're talking. And then you just click the button again to unlock it. So again, that locks the microphone down or on. Click it again to unlock it. Boom. Boom. Okay. Adjustable setting to lower the player volume when the mic button is pressed. Yes, that is what this slider here does. All right. This is the microphone level. You want that all the way up while you're using the microphone. This only affects while this button or this button is pressed, either while the microphone button is being pressed and held or locked. Then the volume of the microphone goes all the way up. When you release this, the microphone volume automatically drops to 0. This is the song volume, then the player volume, while the microphone is in use. This second slider here. So this will fade down the player volumes way down, so that while you're talking, the music in the background is still there, but it's really low, assuming that you turn it really far down like I do. This third slider here, this is actually controls the hardware microphone settings on Windows, volume of the microphone on Windows, and it's glitchy at best. I wouldn't recommend using it. I plan to remove it altogether because I just don't see a point in it. If you need to check your microphone settings in Windows, just check your microphone settings in Windows. Do it directly from Windows. It's better. Yeah, that's really all I've got. Those last ones were from Benny. Thanks, Benny. I'd actually already replied to Benny, but figured I'd bring those up in this video as well. There's a lot of these I replied to, but I'm still going to bring them up here anyhow. That's all I had on my list there on those 4 pages. So if I did not cover something specifically that you were looking for something on, be sure to let me know. I mean, it's very possible that I just haven't gotten your question yet, or maybe I have and I just never got around to answering it. Anything's possible. I think I'll stop this recording for now. I'm not going to go into anything else. That was a rather long recording. But I hope it's helping somebody out. There's always more to go over, and yeah, this could go on for hours if I do. So I'm just going to stop this one here. I'm just going to stop this one here for now, and yeah, I'll do another video, maybe even tomorrow night. We'll see how I'm feeling and what kind of time I've got. All right. Until next time, take it easy. Later.